The biggest fight in Formula One in recent years. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Good day to everyone. Today we will talk about one of the biggest fights in the history of Formula One with you. Formula One hasn't seen a title fight like this almost since its 2012 title fight. There was a Hamilton-Rosberg fight in 2016. But the fact that they are teammates and that there is no such a head-to-head fight sets this fight apart from the others. In this video, we will talk about the 2021 season, which is usually the most important battle of these two. In fact, it was clear from the first race in Bahrain that this fight would be hot. At first, everyone thought that Mercedes would be the clear favorite. Because the car in the 2020 season, W11, was one of the most powerful cars in Formula One history. Hamilton took the pole position as expected in qualifying. However, the race did not go as expected. The fight had just begun from the first round. The real events took place at the end of the race. Verstappen had passed the leader Lewis Hamilton in the final laps. However, the FIA claimed that the pass was off track and told Verstappen to give his seat back. As a result, Verstappen reluctantly gave his place back to Hamilton. And Hamilton won the race. From the very first race, chaos, arguments and exciting fighting started. We come to the next race. The 021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix was the second race of the season. Hamilton came to this race 7 points ahead of Verstappen after the first race. After what happened in the first race, it was eagerly awaited by everyone that these two would clash again. And everyone got what they wanted. In the first lap of the race, Verstappen attacked the leader Hamilton hard and took the lead. He experienced contact during this transition. After this contact, Hamilton's front wing was damaged. This damage had an impact on Hamilton's race, and then Hamilton had several bad racing incidents and could not pass Verstappen and finished the race in second place. This contact was the first race contact between these two. Although the first race was tense, this was one of the moments that lit the fire between the main duo. The third race was in Portugal. Hamilton won this race comfortably and there were no significant incidents. When we came to the fourth race of the season, the Spanish Grand Prix, we watched an excellent match again. Hamilton started the race from pole position and Verstappen started the race from second place. Verstappen again had an excellent start, taking the lead after the contact at the first corner. The race continued comfortably under Verstappen's control. At that time, the Mercedes pit crew made an excellent strategy. While everyone was expected to pit in a single pit, they pitted Hamilton for the second time and fitted fresh tires. Quickly closing the gap with fresh tires, Hamilton caught up with his rival Verstappen in the last laps and scored his third victory in the first 4 races. It's time for Monaco GP. Perhaps the most popular race of the calendar. In the pre-race championship, the advantage is significant in Hamilton. But a good race could have given Verstappen a big advantage. The eventful race week started with qualifying laps. Ferrari and Leclerc achieved great success, taking first place in the first laps of Q3. Verstappen was placed in second place. Hamilton was in 7th place with no good laps. Leclerc crashed and raised the red flag when everyone was on the track in Q3 to exercise their final rights. The session ended here. Hamilton would have started the race at a huge disadvantage against Verstappen. When Leclerc could not start the race due to a malfunction on the race day, Verstappen started from the first row and won comfortably in this difficult race. Hamilton could not pass anyone during the race, and with this result, Verstappen surpassed Hamilton for the first time in the championship. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful races of the season took place during the Azerbaijan race week, right after Monaco. Leclerc once again did a great job and took the pole position. Hamilton started the race as second and Verstappen third. In the first laps of the race, Leclerc quickly fell behind with a slow Ferrari. Championship candidates are placed in the top 2 again. And later in the race, problems occurred in the left rear tires of all teams, and some drivers were out of the race due to punctures. With 5 laps to go, Max Verstappen's left rear tire burst and he was out of the race. All of a sudden, an important chance had arisen for Hamilton. As the race restarted, Hamilton pressed the wrong button and was unable to take the first corner and fell to the last place. With this result, 2 names left this weekend without points. In the French race, as we are used to, there was a Verstappen-Hamilton clash. Verstappen started from pole position. He led the race for a long time. Next, Hamilton made a 1-pit racing strategy. Verstappen made 2 pit stops. And the race turned into the same Spain race. Verstappen quickly closed the gap in the final laps, passed Hamilton and took the lead. As a result, he won the race. With this win, the gap between Verstappen and Hamilton was widened. After France, 2 races in a row were held in Austria in the Red Bull Ring. Max Verstappen won both races by dominating the Mercedes at Red Bull's home. And it significantly widened the gap with Hamilton. With these results, the Silverstone race had become much more important for Hamilton. Because losing the race at home would have taken the championship to an irreversible path. One of the most critical races of the season was the British Grand Prix. This race week was the sprint race trial. Hamilton's sprint at pole lost his place to Verstappen in the race. That's why he had to start the weekend's race from second place. The first round was a perfect match. Hamilton was pushing, Verstappen was resisting. And again the Verstappen-Hamilton duo came wheel to wheel. And this time it was expected. The two had a great contact. With this contact, Verstappen had a serious accident and was out of the race. Hamilton won the race. And this accident continued to be talked about for months. However, who is at fault in this accident continued to be discussed without error. In my opinion, these two showed that they don't want to be the side that puts the brakes on no matter what. This accident was perhaps one of the most important moments of this war. One of the eventful races took place in Hungary. It was a rainy race. The start of the race was eventful. Bottas failed to take the corner and crashed into vehicles in front of him. In this chain accident, Verstappen was also damaged and fell backwards. Leader Hamilton, on the other hand, survived this accident. And in the following laps, Hamilton finished third and Verstappen finished ninth. With this result, Hamilton closed the gap a little bit again. The next race, the Belgian race, could not be held because of the rain. Verstappen finished the race in first place and Hamilton third. The score difference was reduced to 3. With a comfortable home win in the Netherlands, he left Lewis Hamilton behind in the championship for the second time. When we came to Monza GP, Verstappen and Hamilton came from wheel to wheel again and there was contact again. Both drivers did not back down in this contact. As a result of this contact, 2 names were out of the race. With this contact, we have now seen that when these two come from wheel to wheel, nothing good will happen. Russia and Turkey GPs, which passed one after the other, passed in the standard. In Russia, Hamilton won. Verstappen finished second. Hamilton-Perez clash took place in Turkey race. Perez cost Hamilton significant time and Hamilton was unable to catch Verstappen. With this help, Perez helped his teammate quite well in the championship. However, Hamilton did not get the support he expected from Bottas. The USA and Mexico races were back-to-back. Red Bull was actually faster than Mercedes in both races. That wasn't good news for the Mercedes behind anyway. Hamilton's guard was beginning to fall more and more. Verstappen made no mistakes in these 2 race weeks. Hamilton had fallen way too far after this race week. There was no longer any room for error for Hamilton. Everyone was starting to think that Hamilton had forgotten to fight after championships that passed easily. But for GOAT, perhaps the fight was just beginning. Hamilton, who is in a difficult situation with 4 races left, will have understood the seriousness of this business, as he signed a perfect Brazilian race. He was penalized for a mistake in the rear wing design and the sprint started the race from the last row. He climbed perfectly and qualified to start the race from 10th place. He took the first place in the race with a perfect drive and won the race. This win gave Hamilton hope for the next races. In the next race in Qatar, Hamilton won comfortably and closed the points gap a little more. Now we come to the last two races. If Verstappen won the second last race in Saudi Arabia, he could almost be called a champion. It was another excellent race. The Hamilton-Verstappen theme dominated the race. After he made a mistake, while he was giving place to Hamilton, there was a contact between Verstappen and Hamilton, who slowed down abruptly. Hamilton's wing was damaged, but he still won. This event was also talked about a lot after the race. However, no matter what, the final race would have been entered in points with this result. We came to the final. To the end of this great duel. This perfect fight could only end with such a beautiful ending. Same scores. All Formula One fans eagerly awaited this race. Verstappen, who took the first place in the qualifying, started the race with an important advantage. However, at the start, Hamilton passed Verstappen with an excellent start. Hamilton, who progressed at a perfect pace throughout the race, seemed to be the champion. A good fight was waiting for Hamilton, who fell behind Perez after the pits. Perez lost crucial times to Hamilton with an excellent defense. However, Hamilton still caught up with Verstappen with his good pace. But until Latifi takes out the safety car, Verstappen pitted with his advantage there. Hamilton could not enter, and these two would compete on the last lap with fresh tires. Meanwhile, FIA Director Masi made a much-debated decision. He only allowed the vehicles between these two to pass, and these vehicles started the race without catching the convoy. On fresh tires, Verstappen passed Hamilton and became the 2021 Formula One World Champion. Verstappen had won this excellent season. Despite the great controversy, no one can claim that he did not deserve this championship. The fact that this championship came to the last race point by point and the championship reached the last round shows that both drivers deserve it. Verstappen is an excellent driver with a very bright future. Hamilton is one of the best in history. Thank you for showing us this fight. Thank you for watching my video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video.